Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else who is joining us here at Sheffield United Way tonight. This is our championship predictions, and it is game week 41. We have already had our first promotion of the year, which is quite ridiculous. It's the 8th of April. There are 7 games left for the team in question, but we have to send congratulations out to Burnley. Now, you will notice that I am the one introducing the video today. That is because, unfortunately, In Good Nick is not available to join me this evening. So, unfortunately, you will have to put up with me on my own, just monologuing at you. So, I can only apologise to everybody involved for that scenario, but we will try to get through this together. So, what happened yesterday? Well, quite frankly, Nick annihilated me this week. I've had an absolute stinker in our predictions. I'll bring up the league table. And as you can see, Nick has significantly closed that gap. I was around 10 points clear. I'm now only 3. He beat me 7-1. I got 1. It is an absolutely shocking performance from me, and I have to make sure that I do better this week because I cannot afford to blow my lead, or I will maybe have to quit the channel because I can't have Nick beating me. I just don't think I can let that happen. The viewers, though, had a fantastic week. There are some excellent scores out there. Mike Price, UTB, Patrick Raybold all got 10 points. Pete Day, who is perennially near the top of our league, got 12. But... and I'm going to put myself back on screen for this because Daniel Yallop has an absolute madness. 19 points he got this week. Absolutely insane. I cannot believe how many points he has got this week. It's an incredible performance from him, and just a massive round of applause for you, Daniel, because that is an incredible performance. So let us jump in to this week's predictions and our first game, which is Huddersfield versus Blackburn. Now, Nick has gone for a 2-2 draw. I have gone for a Huddersfield win, and most people might suggest that's a bit of a shock. We're both going for somewhat controversial predictions, but Huddersfield are in great form. They've got 3 wins in a row, and they've been some really tough on paper fixtures. Warnock is once again working his magic, and to be honest, if you ask me now, I think he's probably going to keep them up. For Blackburn, they've had 3 defeats in a row in League and Cup, and suddenly they're just looking a little bit like their grip on the playoffs is just slipping away. They're still in a great position, I believe, but I fancy Huddersfield will just keep going at the moment, and it's going to be difficult now for Blackburn. They really will need a bounce back result at some point. Just don't think it's going to be this one. Coming into the comments, I can see a lot of people agreeing with us. James thinks Huddersfield. Sheffield United FTV thinks Huddersfield. JohnEgan.com thinks Huddersfield. And if JohnEgan.com thinks Huddersfield, usually that's a good sign because he is very good at these predictions. Coming on to our next game in that case, and we've got Birmingham at home to Stoke. This is one of our favourites. It's a battle of the cities. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Birmingham City taking on Stoke City, and you've got to enjoy that kind of content. Now, Nick has gone for a draw. He's sitting on the fence for this one. Birmingham are on a bit of a decent run. They're unbeaten in 3 in the league. They've not lost in 5 against Stoke. I'd say they're now clear of relegation, and I think they'll say that's a pretty successful season on the whole. Stoke had been flying, but their on the beach status, as I'm going to refer to it, really got cemented with that defeat to Bristol City. I still think they're going to be inconsistent all the way through the end of this season, so the performance level can be high, and I think they might get back to that. So I'm going to go for a Stoke win, but it's hard to be overly confident. What are we saying in the comments? Joachim is going for Stoke. Sheffield United FTV agrees with Nick, thinks it'll be a draw. James thinks it's going to be Birmingham. As you can see, this one is tough to call. You're split in the comments. Myself and Nick are split. Could go either way. Let's hope I'm right, because I really need to start being right again, because it feels like it's been a long time since I've been able to get a real lead on Nick, since I've had a good week. So let's hope this is my week. Up next, Cardiff City at home to Sunderland. Now, the last time that Sunderland beat Cardiff was when they were both Premier League teams in 2014. Nick thinks that's a run that's going to continue. He doesn't think that Sunderland will turn up and get the win here. But I do. They had a really crazy game on Friday night. And you might look at it and say they're on a 4-game run without a win. But they've got draws against Burnley and Luton. They were 30 seconds away from beating Hull, and the other one is a defeat to United. That's not that bad a run. Cardiff got a fantastic result against Blackpool, but they still gave up some decent chances in that game, and I think a better team in Sunderland will punish them for it. So again, let's see what else we've got. Sheffield United Fan TV going 2-2, Joachim 1-1, James 1-1. Everybody thinks this one's going to be a draw. I'm not so sure. I think Up the Blades has got more like the right idea. A 4-0 big away win. And I just think Sunderland have got the edge on this one. I think they're a better team. And I think they're likely the winners of this one relatively comfortably in the end. Now, up next is what I think is going to be game of the weekend. Now, both myself and Nick think that Coventry are going to win this because Watford, innit? But every time they go out at the minute, I'm just expecting insanity. And I think that's what we got in the game against Huddersfield with goalkeeper implosion, conceding 3 silly goals. You're not fit to wear the shirt chants from the fans. I mean, they're just going to go out and create chaos right now. We know that Wilder's going to want his team to attack. He's going to want to try and get a reaction from his players. But are they good enough defensively to give him what he needs? I just don't think so. So I don't think it's going to be a great end to the season for Watford. But for us neutrals, just start watching it happen. I think we're really going to enjoy the chaos that the end to their season is going to bring. Now, I do want to address something that came up last week. I think it was Sashid in our comments put a really good comment about sort of what Wilder had been saying following their previous game. And he'd been on WD18. He'd spoken to Charlie Zazera, who I know well. And they'd had a really good conversation about Wilder wanting to stay with Watford beyond this season. I said it at the time that he was appointed, and I would stand by it now. I don't think that's the right thing. Unless Watford are going to dramatically change what their recruitment looks like, or Wilder's willing to give up control that he's never done before, I just don't think it works if he stays at Watford. And to be honest, given how results are going, I don't really expect him to stay either. But really welcome that comment. I thought it was interesting and just wanted to make sure I'd addressed it just to give my thoughts on where they're at the moment. What are we looking at? We've got Coventry to win, Coventry to win, Coventry to win, and James Stribley, Coventry to win, and Wilder was a one-trick pony. Now, I would say that's a little harsh myself. He did fantastic before he came to United, but undoubtedly, following leaving United, he's not really been able to pick up where he left off or really kick on anywhere else. I would like to say that there's an interesting stat on this one. I like to pick out interesting stats where I can, particularly if I'm on my own, because otherwise, you get fed up with my voice eventually. But Victor Gyökeres, despite being the second top scorer in the league, despite being quite widely thought of as one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, he's got the most big chances missed in the division this season. It's scary how many goals he could have scored if he was taking all those chances that he should. Coventry could be in a fantastic position. They're not that far off the playoffs anyway. And when you think about it like that, they really could have been flying. Would be incredible if they did make it. And if Gyökeres does fire them up, because they had a terrible start to the season. So let's see where that one leads. So what is up next? Up next, after saying what I think is going to be the best game of the weekend, we're now talking about what I think might be the worst game of the weekend. 4 draws in Hull's last 5 games. They look like a team fully in summer mode. But then again, that sometimes does make good games. Their game against Sunderland yesterday, as already referenced, was fantastic. Maybe they'll get some momentum from a 98th minute penalty. But Millwall have got more to play for. Their place in the playoffs is still a little bit under jeopardy, so they really need to be up for this one. And I think they'll just turn up and they'll take the win here. Hull haven't got a great record defending corners, and I think that could be where Millwall really punish them. Nick's gone 0-0. He agrees, probably not going to be a very good game. Really appreciate the comment from Beardman about him giving me the channel. I'm up for it. If he wants to just, put it all in my name, I could certainly take that on. But no, in all seriousness, we always want Nick to be back. He's a much better presenter than I am. So hopefully he'll be able to be here for our next one. But with it being Easter and with him having the little one, it's understandable that he might have plans, I suppose. What are we saying in the comments? We've got a 1-0 Millwall. We've got a 1-0 Hull. I assume that's Hull. Another 1-0 Hull and 1-0 Millwall. So this is really split. Everyone thinks this is going to be a tight game, generally thinks it's going to be a rubbish game, and that there might only be one goal in it. And to be honest, I've already talked about it more than I think we should have done because it's going to be that poor. So let's go on to Luton against Blackpool. Now, both myself and Nick think Luton will win this game. I'll let you in on a secret. I get to put my predictions in before Nick puts his in, and I stole Luton 1-0 because he always does it to me, and it was getting on my nerves. And I thought, you know what? I'm not letting him do it again. So I'm having Luton 1-0 this week. I've done that, though, because Blackpool are rubbish. Mick McCarthy just actively made them a worse side than they were before he arrived. Now, even though he's gone, I can still only see a future that is League One for them. You know, their January signings that really excited me just haven't kicked on. They've not made them a better team. And so it's a real shame that I think we are going to be saying goodbye. Whereas Luton, their draw on Friday makes it interesting because they can't really afford any more slip-ups. If they are seriously trying to chase down second place, they'll really have targeted this one. Even before Friday, they'll have said, we have to get 3 points on Monday because this is a home banker. If there's ever been a home banker, they're going to want to keep ticking along and really putting the pressure on United ahead of their game in the late kickoff. Now, if my predictions are correct, this is another one. So Luton are currently joint with Coventry for most clean sheets in the league. If my predictions are correct this weekend, this will see Luton take the lead in that race. And let's be honest, that's the real quiz here, isn't it? Forget about promotion. It's all about who gets the most clean sheets. And Luton are desperately trying to win that race. What are we saying in the comments? Joachim is going insane for Luton. A 5-0 win. If there's 5 goals in a Luton game, Joachim, I'll give you the money myself, because I just don't see that one coming. But we've got 2-1. We've got 3-0. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm going insane. And maybe there are going to be more goals in Luton games than I normally give them credit for. Interesting times. But yeah, I personally don't see it. I think this will be another relatively poor game. But I think Luton will take that because it'll be a fairly comfortable win. On to Norwich City against Rotherham. Now, I thought this one was really hard to predict. Nick clearly thinks slightly otherwise and thinks it'll be a more comfortable home win. But look, Norwich looked terrible against United a couple of weeks ago. You know, they've gone out and got a fantastic win against Blackburn, a really huge 3 points that gets them right on the cusp of the playoffs. And they'll really feel as though they've got the momentum to chase down Blackburn. Now, Rotherham themselves had a fantastic win against West Brom. They're going to be riding high, and they're going to make this as awkward as possible for Norwich. But quite frankly, Rotherham are not the same team away from home. They've got a honking away record. It's really not good. And I just think that's what's going to ultimately tip this tie in the home side's favour. I think Norwich will win it, and I think they'll end the weekend in the playoff positions. We've got a split again in our comments. We've got James thinks Norwich. We've got Joachim thinks Rotherham. We've got Up the Blades thinks Rotherham. We've got Sheffield United Fan TV thinks Norwich. We are constantly switching, it seems, at the moment. Everybody thinks that 2 are going one way, 2 are going another. It seems like a really even week of Championship football. And hopefully that's a week I come out on the right end of. Because yet again, I refuse to let Nick beat me again. Not this week. It's just not happening. Jack Shaw coming in late saying 0-0. I could see it. Rotherham are good at killing games. They're good at making it boring. But I just think that Norwich are really going to want to make a message on this one. And I think they've got to if they want to make the playoffs. They can't afford to not win this game and still be going for the playoffs. Up next, Preston against Reading. Reading are rubbish away. Preston relatively poor at home. So I've gone down the middle and gone for a draw. Preston's lack of goals has been very well documented. I covered it extensively on Friday. And from what the alerts on my phone are telling me, they are falling further behind to Erling Haaland as we speak because the man is a monster. But I am doubting this prediction. Low-key, Preston have put a hell of a run together. They've only got 1 defeat in their last 10, and they've won 4 of their last 5. They are charging to try and get that last playoff spot. Don't really see it. But if they can keep going, there is a chance. Reading, meanwhile, are in deep relegation trouble. You know, after that deduction, they are now in the relegation zone and they really need to start picking up points and picking them up quickly. I think we will see somewhat of an improvement from Reading now that they're in the dogfight. I think they'll just step it up a little bit. They'll be able to push off that idea that they were going to be on the beach and comfortably mid-table. And I think that'll help them get some positive results. And I think they'll see this as a pretty positive result. JohnEgan.com straight in, 0-0 PNE. And we all love a 0-0 PNE. So let's hope that we can see another one at least before the season is over. But we've got lots of confidence in Preston. We've got 4-0, 3-1, 1-0. 2-0. You can see it building everywhere. And Sheffield United Fan TV just letting us know for sure that Haaland's got 2 so far today. And he is probably going to get another one, but I don't know how long's left in the game. So what up next? Up next, we've got a team that are absolutely awful. It seemed unthinkable a month ago. It definitely seemed unthinkable when they beat United at Bramall Lane. I think it was in October and went top of the league. But QPR are going down. Like, I'm very confident that QPR are going down now. It's just rotten from top to bottom, rotten running through the squad at the moment. They've just completely down tools. And to be honest, given their choice of manager, it couldn't have happened to a nicer man. But his appointment's just been a complete disaster, and you absolutely love to see it. He's not stopped their slide. If anything, he's made them worse. He's got them doing some stupid hacker in the training ground that just made them look stupid. And I just don't see how they turn it around. I think this is my banker. I don't think we'll see a more comfortable home win all season long. West Brom are going to walk this one. Just absolutely walk it. Let's see what you guys think. I know I saw earlier on some calling for the QPR relegation. Yeah, lots of confidence in West Brom. Lots of confidence all the way through. Yeah, I can see it coming here. That's an interesting perspective from Sheffield United Fan TV, but I don't disrespect the idea. Up the Blades, the only one who doesn't think this will be a comfortable home win. He has gone for a 4-4 draw, which would be absolutely insane. But it does feed into my interesting stat for this game. Despite playing for a team in freefall, despite playing for a team that are possibly going down to League One and have been terrible, Ilias Chair is still doing a madness this season. He has the highest expected assists per 90 any player in the league, and I think he's third on the actual assist list. So he is still a shining star. And if QPR manage to stay up, I'm sure a lot of it will rest on his shoulders because he's just the standout player for them, and they need him. They really, really need him because they're rubbish. Oh, well. So, up next, we've got Wigan against Swansea. He's gone for a Wigan win, and I get it from Nick. I do kind of see where he's coming from. They're fighting for their lives. They're at home. Swansea haven't been fantastic towards the second half of this season, but look, for Wigan, the fight was there at Bramall Lane. I think the attitude was there, but they've just got such a lack of quality. Like, if it wasn't for Ben Amos, they'd have probably lost 3 or 4-0, and nobody would have said that flattered United. Because even though Wigan had some of the ball, they had some decent possession. They never, ever looked like creating a chance. Never mind not scoring a goal, never looked like even creating a chance. And that's such a problem. So I think in this game, they'll keep it tight. They'll probably let Swansea have the ball. They'll probably be comfortable enough defending against them, but they've just not got anywhere near enough to hit teams on the break. They're not got enough goals in their squad to stay up. And it's a shame. I really do think it's a shame because what they've gone through, their fans over the last sort of 5 years, they probably deserve better than what they've got at the minute. But it just doesn't get better for them. And they're another team, to be honest. I'm willing to write off Wigan. I'm willing to write off Blackpool. I think they're gone. And I think it's just an absolute dogfight for that last relegation spot. But maybe Nick disagrees. He thinks that Wigan will get a win here. And if they do, they may well drag somebody else into the dogfight. Seems unlikely to me. So JohnEgan.com agrees with Nick. Jack Shaw agrees with me. James Stribley agrees with Nick. We've got Joachim and Sheffield United Fan TV both going for Swansea. Blades Talk Madness thinks it's going to be a huge win for Swansea. The West Ham in the comments, the cyber leader, West Ham United Football Club, thinks this one's going to be 1-1. Yeah, not a bad guess. We've got Swansea 3-2. Difficult one to call. Obviously, we've got split in the comments, but for me, just think that it's probably going to be your typical Swansea game where they don't score a goal and Wigan just haven't got enough to really damage them. Coming towards the end now, we've got 2 games left, and it's 2 fairly big ones, I feel. Bristol City against Middlesbrough up first, and Nick thinks that Middlesbrough will drop yet more points after this international break. It's 2 defeats in a row for them, which has left them really, really, really needing a response if they want to try and get the top 2 now. This is as good an opportunity as any they're going to have. They're playing first, so they get to put the pressure on United, and this is a relatively favourable game. Look, Bristol City got a fantastic win against Stoke. Everybody had written them off. Everybody thought that Stoke would walk that game, and Bristol City turned up and they turned them over. And that's a fantastic result for them. But Borough, with so much on the line, I think are really going to go at this game. We know how many goals are in that Borough squad with Archer, with Akpom. So I think they're really going to go at this and probably will have enough to win the game. Does that mean anything in the long term? I don't want to say it out loud. So read into that what you will. But at least for Monday, I think they'll put some pressure on and they'll do what they can to try and force a mistake from United. What have we got elsewhere? We've got 3-1 Borough agreeing with me, 3-2 Borough agreeing kind of with me. You've got a Bristol City win from Jack Shaw, which I think we would all love to see. Up the Blades agrees. Joachim agrees. Sheffield United Fan TV agrees. We're getting lots of comments there, potentially seeing a Bristol City upset, and we would love to see that. It would be quality. We've got the cyber leader who says 3-1 to Borough, and he's asking if Hal is still on the channel. Hal is indeed still on the channel, as is Nick. Hal doesn't do the prediction show with us. Hal does our previews and match reactions and still does a fantastic job covering those. It's just not part of this conversation, not part of our predictions. Nick, unfortunately, couldn't be here today, just as I explained at the start. So you do, unfortunately, just have to put up with me. And we get a nice greeting from a Blade in Bulgaria. Hope the weather's as nice there as it's been here today, because it's been absolutely lovely. And that brings us to our final game of Easter Monday. Burnley against Sheffield United. It's a big one. It's a very big game, this one, because it's the top 2. It's the 2 teams who, quite frankly, over the season, have been far and away the best 2 teams in the league so far. Now, Burnley, as I said at the start, massive congratulations on your promotion. It was well earned, and I think nobody will disagree to say that you're possibly the best team in the Championship of the last 5 years, 6 years. Can't remember what year it was that Newcastle went on a bit of a madness, but certainly the best team I can remember recently, shall we say. Promoted with 7 games left on the 7th of April, chasing down that record points total. Hopefully they've been on the beers all weekend. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think Company will have let them do that. I don't think Company is going to go out there and be one of these managers who says, yeah, let's just have it. Forget about Monday. Let's all be on it. But I hope he did. But United have been great the last 3 games. Like, even if performances haven't always been there, we've put together a string of wins now that have been really important at a really important time of the season. We've extended that gap against Middlesbrough and deservedly have done so. We will do everything we can to take advantage of complacency from Burnley, and if they make any mistakes, we will punish them. We saw at Bramall Lane that United have got it in them to absolutely dominate Burnley, aerially, physically, mentally. We had them all over the park at Bramall Lane. I do think this will be different. I do think Burnley are going to come looking for revenge. They're really going to want to try and prove a point after what happened at Bramall Lane. And so that's why I've gone for a Burnley win. We know they are probably the best team in the league. They're playing at home where they've not lost all season. So it's probably not a controversial prediction, but it does still hurt my heart just a little bit to do it. What have we got in the comments? We've got a 5-3 Blades echoing what happened at Bramall Lane earlier in the season where United won 5-2. We've got 2-1 Blades. JohnEgan.com thinks it's going to be a really fun 3-3. 3-1 to United, 2-2, 1-1, 1-0 Blades. We will turn them over. It's interesting. There's a lot of confidence coming, and I like it. I love to see that little bit of confidence. But the cyber leader disagrees. He's gone for... Oh, no, he has agreed. Sorry, I've completely misread your comment. Another win for United. It's brilliant to hear. everybody's feeling a lot more confident than me. I love it, guys. That's what I want to see. You've given me that confidence. Maybe I should change my prediction, because there is a fun stat with this, and that's that over the season, no team in the Championship has got a better XG differential than Sheffield United this season. United are ahead of Burnley on that measure. Now, Burnley won't care. They have scored 20 more goals than their XG. So there's very much a question of, does XG actually matter at all in this conversation? No, probably not. But it makes us all feel better to know that we should have won the league, really. We've just been conned a little bit by jammy finishing. That's how football works, right? No, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me this week ahead of Easter Monday. I always say that Easter is the best weekend to be a football fan. I love the games Friday. I'm going to love the games on Monday. Let's hope it's another positive result for United. Let's hope I can finally beat Nick, because I'm fed up of him chasing me down, and I really don't want to bottle it like, you know, a certain other team that might come to mind. Who could it be? Hope you have a great weekend, Blades. Hope you have a great weekend, everybody who is watching this stream. Enjoy.